We are in New Zealand, sorta. So this morning, found out that New Zealand does not like me. They like Cindy, but they don't like me. To get in New Zealand is not an easy process. 5 weeks before we got approval, we actually sent in our visa applications, and it took 5 weeks, obviously. But it's not just getting approval to come into the country. You have to give them updates on when you're going to arrive, where you're going to arrive, and the website told me that I had to send in our arrival information 24 hours in advance of arrival to immigration. So at about 26 hours out, I sent it in. And then we came in the middle of the night. And you have to go straight to the customs dock. They have a specific dock at each port of entry that you go to, and you wait there, to clear in. The only time you're allowed off the boat is to actually tie your lines off. Next morning, we see customs on the dock. They don't come to us right away. They went to these other boats, even some boats that came in after us. Finally, they come to us and they go, "Who the hell are you?" So I said, "I'm Remission." He says, "Well, we know that, but we don't have any record of you guys coming in." And I explained to him, well, I sent my information in 24 hours ago. And at this point, it's like 30 hours ago. And they said, well, we don't have it. And plus, you're supposed to do it 48 hours ahead of time. So we've got, an AIS being here, but we have no record of you coming into our country. I told them I sent it to immigration. They said, no. You're supposed to send it to customs, that they no longer share information on boats arriving. And I did not find that anywhere in the websites. In fact, they don't have just one website, they have several websites, and it's really hard to figure out. So this was with customs, and they were the nice ones. And so he sat down with us, and they actually had two of them come on board, and they completely went through the boat. One guy sat and talked to us doing paperwork, and the other guy, he checked every cabin, every room, every cubby, wanted to know what we brought in. And this guy was pretty cool. He told us that, they were upset with us for not doing it right, but he'd give us a pass. But he says, wait, you got to deal with biosecurity. He says, they're not the fun ones, and they're the ones that can fine you or turn you away, for that matter of fact. We knew ahead of time you couldn't bring any food in, any fresh food or such, and there's a lot of different things. Even alcohol. You're only allowed to bring in so much. Now this is where the guy got cool. Well, I knew you're still going to have to deal with biosecurity, so I'm going to ask you a question, because the way the law reads is you can only have, 3 liters? 3 liters on you per person. So I told him I had 12 liters total. I actually had quite a bit more than that stuck away. Luckily, they didn't find that. It was kind of like in a hidden cabin or a hidden compartment, which we no longer have. So any other countries that see this, that cabinet's gone. But so he goes and asks, he says, okay, be very careful on how I ask this and how you answer. And he goes, how much alcohol do you have on your person right now? I'm sitting at the table. I go, none. He goes, perfect. He writes down 0. Then he asks Cindy, how much do you have on your person? And what'd you say, Cindy?
0.
0. So he did us a solid, put down nothing, and so we didn't have to pay any extra duties. But he said, next guy comes aboard, he's going to be the one to worry about it. His name was Mike, and he was biosecurity. And he come on board, he's the one that really started yelling at us, because he said, as soon as I got up, I always checked AIS to see who's new on the dock. And there's Remission, and I have no idea who Remission is. So the first guy yelled at me, this guy screamed at me. And he says, you know, there's a $400 fine for not doing this right. And I tried to tell him, hey, you know, I sent it in. This is where I was told to send it. This is where I was. He says, no, there's no excuse. You did it wrong. And after him trying to, I think, just scare me a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he threatened. He says, you know, I have the ability not to let you into the country. But then, so he kind of tabled it for a minute, and then, you know, in going over what we had, he checked our shoes. Remember, Cindy cleaned our shoes. And our boat on the top side was pretty clean. So finally he goes, all right, I'm going to let you in the country, and I'm not going to find you. Thank goodness. He says, but I need to see your video of your hull. As I mentioned last week, I cleaned my hull, which I did thoroughly. I mean, it literally took me over 2 hours to do. And I mean, it was spotless. We went through there. This way. It was spotless. But I told him I wasn't able to get any video because the water where I did it was so murky. And of course he gets mad again. And as he's letting me know how mad he is, he says, okay, I'm gonna have to get my other biosecurity person here. She's got the camera. We're gonna go ahead and take video. And I says, well, I got a GoPro. You want me to do it? And he was kind of appreciative of that. And he says, yeah. So I took my GoPro, ran it along the underside of the bottom. And to me, it looked pretty clean when we looked at the footage, but not to him. He goes, oh no, that's, you know, he goes, are you sure you cleaned this? And he says, that's a bug. And what was another one, a worm that he found? A worm, yeah. And so he said, none of that is allowed into the country. But, so we've got him mad at us again. He says, do you have any other work that you need to done on the bottom? And I go, no. He says, well, I'm going to make you haul out. Didn't want to do that. I mean, if I would have known he was going to do that to us, I wouldn't have spent all that time cleaning the bottom to begin with. But no. And he says, because of this, I can't give you a full entry into the country. What I can give you is a 3-week entry permit, and you have to schedule getting out, getting the bottom clean, and getting me back here. And it goes, and I live an hour away to inspect the bottom. So I'll show you all that procedure next. So I went to the boat yard and I was able to get one in about 10 days. And they didn't want to do it then. But they, you know, when I told them, hey, Mike at Biosecurity, as soon as I said Mike at Biosecurity, goes, oh, jeez. He's really bad. He's the strictest one there is. Says, no wonder you have to haul out. And so they gave it to me in 10 days because I told them, hey, if I don't get this done in 3 weeks, I'm kicked out of the country. And he goes, yeah, and they'll do it. So they scheduled it. The next up is what we had to go through with that. And believe me, it was a lot more than $800. So that's where we are. We're in country, waiting for us to get all of our work done, or our bottom clean, and have him sign off that we can go in, and he'll give us the full year's visa at that point. And then he also made comments about how, all right, when you get ready to leave, I want her to send the emails, not me, because he didn't trust me to do it right. I'm thinking maybe I should just turn over all these procedures over to Cindy, because I mean she is definitely the one of the two of us that's more detail oriented. What do you think? You want to take that over? I think I better. She thinks she better. That wasn't what I was expected.
But you do a fabulous job.
Oh, yeah, this is the first country I've had problems with.
It's
where else have I had a problem?
Maybe Samoa.
Oh no, It's always my fault. You're the one that let her go into the water. Well, anyways, we're in New Zealand. We're happy to be here. And glad we didn't get fined, and glad they let us in to begin with.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes. Thank you, Mike, if you watch this.
Good guy.
Actually, he ended up being a good guy. And you'll see in the video where he goes and really does check the bottom. And I mean, he went into it, made sure that they pressure washed everything that he thought could harm their country, which I don't have a problem with. I have a problem with that I spent all that much time and it was totally clean, but I'm just glad he let me into the country. We're here for a year. Well, we can stay here for a year, but we're here for 6 months. Alrighty, take a look at what we had to go through. Today is haul out day. We are just awaiting our turn. Here comes one guy being put back in. Now he's on a, they call it travel lift. What they're going to do for us is they're going to bring a trailer in and lift us off the trailer. So I've been on that before. That's scary. But being on a trailer, we did that in Raiatea and I didn't like that either. So we'll see how it goes. It is kind of cool what they do. We were supposed to be hauled out yesterday, but we had 20+ knot winds and they just felt, and I agreed completely, it wasn't safe to try to get out of our corner slip and then try to make it over here. So we waited till today, and this morning we only had about 5 knots of wind, but we had a strong current, and boy was it was tough. So I even had a line handler and then a tender to help push me around if I needed it, and it did not go well. We as I tried to pull out, the wind and the current pushed me into another boat, into their bowsprit. Luckily the bowsprit hit our blow-up kayak, tore the hell out of the bag, but it didn't seem to, it didn't get our boat, and I think the kayak's going to be okay. Once we get lifted out, then we've got some work that's going to be done. As I think I mentioned earlier, we did not pass biosecurity, so they're going to completely spray down the boat. Biosecurity is going to come down and watch, and he's going to take video and stuff to make sure that we're in compliance. After that's done, then they're going to sand our props and put a new prop speed on it, which is basically paint for the props, because in Shelter Bay about 1.5 years ago in Panama, they did a crappy job. So that has to be done. And then we're getting some welding done. We've got a leak in our archway here. In fact, right there, our archway, we saw up there a leak back in Tonga. And I was able to put some industrial putty on it, and that worked for a while, but now it's leaking again. So the welder's going to come in, and he can only do that when we're on the hard, because they can't weld when we're in the marina. So they're going to do that, and then we've got our, Starlink, which is right there between the two panels. And what we're going to do is the welder's going to put a new brace and bring it over to here, and it's going to come out this way. That way the middle is going to be open, and we're going to take out these panels, which are okay. They do a decent job, but they're like 870 watts total, and we'll be able to add about another 100 to 150 watts by putting in bigger panels and more efficient panels that actually are what they call bifacial, so any reflection off the water will hit the bottom and help get us more power. So big doings coming on today, and it's Friday at noon is when we're getting hauled out, and all this work's got to be done before everybody starts leaving around 4. That's because we lost a day. Plus we got guys coming in. We have water pumps on our engines, they are all corroded. And so they're going to replace those for us and then do the outdrive service, so the sail drive service. So again, a lot going on for one day. That's boat life. What are you going to do? This always scares the hell out of me. Well, it's like our third time, so getting a little closer, but I still don't like this.
Yeah, it's wobbly.
All three different ways.
Yeah, our third time out, and all three have been completely different. This one scares me because it's only 4 little attachment points, and all that weight is on the hull is on those 4 little points.
Maybe we should have put diesel in and water in after this.
Yeah. Well, what I didn't like is what he says is if it falls off, it's going to fall back. But the fact that he thinks that could happen, this got me worried.
Folded in, is it?
Yeah, it's a small feathering or folding prop.
Locals here and all the amenities in it.
I mean, it's amazing how great this marina is.
Yeah.
You know, the tradesmen are all excellent. The marina's treated us really well. We love it here.
Oh, great.
You know, we may emigrate.
Why not?
We're gonna.
Busy place. I don't know if the light or not, but you see where we ripped open the kayak bag. Well, luckily the kayak took the thing and nothing on the hull. Now I look at this, there's barely any coverage. I cleaned this thing really well just before we left, which was now 3 weeks ago. And we had to get this hauled out because of that little bit of moss that's on there. But as you can see, the prop, that definitely needs some work, so they're gonna do the prop speed on there. So at least we're getting some stuff done, and we're gonna get the sail drives emptied. I was getting attacked. I was getting attacked by both of you. Just like that, things change. Remission's going to her spot on the hard. Today is Friday afternoon. We were supposed to get out of here or get back in the water on Monday morning, but now we've decided to do a little more extra work on it. we're going to have a little more copper coat paint put on in an area where they should have put it back on in Panama, but they didn't. So we're going to get that done. Got a little bit of repair work from when we hit a bombing in Fakarava on our rudder. So they're going to sand that down and put new copper coat down. So it's nice is that, you know, they're going to keep it here for a week doing all that to do it right. We'll be gone, but they're going to have a delivery captain when they're ready to put it back in the water, put it in the slip for us, which I'm happy about because that slip's a bitch. And so all going to be done while we're gone. And it's the same delivery captain, the guy who's going to be watching our boat while we're gone anyway. So I feel pretty comfortable about it. So there's the work that got a little repair for the bommies, and then as you can see here, the water line comes up to about here. Why they only painted to there, I don't know. So they're gonna paint up to here, so all of it, we don't have all these crustaceans growing on the fiberglass. Now you tell me, how secure does that look? This is why this always scares the hell out of me. I wish somebody here in New Zealand would open up a restaurant called I Don't Care. Then I could actually take Cindy to where she wants to go. Studies show you should never upset your wife because they remember stuff that's never even happened.